500.
Oh yeah, g'day everyone. And just like Frew, Chronicle Chamber has some A issues. This is episode 285A, where we will discuss the latest in the dailies and Sunday stories, as well as all the news that is going around worldwide in the world of the Phantom. So please stay tuned and enjoy. Daily number 265, The Chain, has wrapped up. And I see Germ's little point here. What is the point of the story? Germ, you really enjoyed the original Chain story. That's something that you hold deep in your heart. And I get the sense through our communication over this last little while that while this has been going on, that you feel a little bit hurt about it feels
Well,
like it's been a little bit poo-pooed.
I will
Um,
admit I've probably played on that a little bit. Like I did enjoy the story. I understand that there's problems and there's holes and plot holes and a few other holes in the story or breaks in the chain if you want to use that type of analogy. But my probably concern is with this story is I enjoyed the moment with Kit and the Phantom rescuing the statues and the artifacts from the Longo land. But I don't see the purpose, and I still don't see the purpose, even after talking to Tony. So if I don't see it, I wonder if anyone else does. But I don't see the purpose of poo-pooing the chain story for this story. I think I might have enjoyed the story a lot more if it was just a coming of the age relationship building moment between Kit and the Phantom, 21st Phantom.
Is it a poo-pooing, Dan, or has it been able to use a classic story or one that's held deep in people's hearts and raise it to a new audience? What do you reckon, Dan?
It's a really challenging one because I'm not going to say that I was overplaying it or whatever. I actually really like The Chain, the original story. It's one of my favorites from that era. It's one that really appealed to me. The idea of the patience and the tenacity and just keep working and just bit at a time and you'll get there, and that idea of scraping the chain every time you walked around the well just a little bit so that it can eventually break. I really liked that, and I didn't see the plot holes in it that Tony picked apart. I didn't enjoy that phase of the story of this new retelling or this new chain story. That was made a little bit more challenging at the time with the change of artist as well, and also Brett Blevins as the artist was also trying to use some Wilson McCoy art. I think I might have commented on the podcast about there were times where we didn't know what Brett Blevins' art was because he was trying to copy other artists and stuff at the time as well, and some of those looked a little bit they were hit and miss the way that he drew those. The point of the story, to answer Germ's question, is, well, it turns out it's an epilogue, if you like, to the Rack and Ruin saga, and it gives the opportunity for Kit to talk about why he came back from the Himalayas and the moment that he decided to, because of the dream that he'd had. And that was the connection to the Phantom at the beginning of the story, retelling, okay, here's a dream I had, how ridiculous that the chain dream that I had occurred. And that's the connection at the end. I feel like you could have done that without going back to the chain story and pulling it apart. So I think I remember a communication from Tony, and whether it was in a comment on the YouTube clip, or I feel like we mentioned it here, where he was going to strike a Leaf Orc story from the lore, from Phantom lore, and I just wish he hadn't done that. to be completely honest, I think that we could have achieved what he wanted to here with and we're going, Germ's scrolling through the images now, of the Phantom and Kit having that conversation without necessarily needing to have the dream sequence connecting them. So overall, as an end result. And these last few panels are excellent, I thought. And by the time he finished the story, Brett Blevins' art, I was completely cool with. He's a really good artist, and I would have no problem with reading more stories by him at all. This one, it's gonna sit with me for a while though. The way that the original chain was pulled apart so very badly. So
It's one of the stories I remember, the chain and having the chain of patience, and he's working and the persistence to the patience to get the little nick in the chain with every rotation of the mill. But looking at, I feel like I am looking at it with rose-tinted glasses, because I think that's a great message. But then you see the things like, how didn't he escape? Numerous attempts and numerous opportunities that he could have, and it just didn't happen. And so I can also see Tony's point. So I probably don't. I did enjoy the original story. I probably don't hold it as close to my heart as some others do. Hence the reason why I don't mind what Tony has done to it, or done with it, I should say, not done to it. I think he's used it, and I, in my opinion, I think he's used it well. I'm halfway through writing a blog post about it. Unfortunately, I had marking and stuff over this past fortnight, so I put it on pause for a bit, but I'll get back onto it this week, and hopefully. Oh, I want to say, if I say it on the podcast, it's going to be out within a week. That means I've got the challenge, and I'll make sure it happens. Okay, we've also got the end of one daily story. It starts a new daily story. The Avarice has landed, daily number 266. First and foremost, we've got Mike Manley is back. You're talking about this Ian Mullis fellow in the comments. I'm Googling, I thought, who the hell is Ian Mullis? I had no idea what the heck you were talking about. And it's until I've just seen it out like that. I've caught up now.
So you've got a guy called Ian Mollusk.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Who likes to use
more
Twitter.
Sense. Right. And he's rich beyond the dreams of Avarice. Right. Okay. So
he's got space exploration.
Right. So I'm a little bit behind in this story. Jermayn, you're up to date?
Look, it's really
now I can see the way he's drawn as well. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, look, it's very, very early. Basically, you've got this rich guy called Ian Mullis who now owns Twitter. His rocket that has tried to go into space has crash landed into the Phantom's country, of course. As you can see here, it is out of control. Then the Phantom is contacted by Lamanda, who has been contacted by Ian Mollusk, who is trying to find it. And he goes, yeah, I'll go look for it. And as you can see, the jungle animals are exploring it. Something happens. The Phantom's there. There is a big gaping hole out of it from somewhere. Again, if you're on YouTube, you will see this. If you're on audio only, you're going to have to use your imagination or go back and read the story. It's interesting. And then you're inside this little rocket. And then the lunar lander is called the Avarice. And then the Phantom goes, Avarice, that's a terrible name. Did Ian Mollis not see that? Gents, yous are the English teachers, so could you tell our listeners what that word actually means?
Well, it's greed, basically. It's an extreme version of greed. It is greed squared. Well, that's it. It's about being rich to the point of why are you even that rich? So that I can completely see Ian Mullis, calling his space program that.
Yeah, look, it's what I'm excited that we might actually have just a normal standalone jungle adventure here. You know, I've enjoyed continuity in my Phantom stories. I've enjoyed Phantom elements being tied up or being written into or being modified. You know, I enjoy all of that. But I also enjoy just a romp in the jungle, the Phantom rocking up, saving the day, a little bit of a nod to some other stories for us nuffies to kind of get excited over. So that's where I think we might be going at the moment, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, who doesn't like a good romp in the jungle?
I'll leave that there.
Okay. We've got the Sunday story happening as well. The commander will see you now. But I like this comment you see from Russell on the Comic Kingdom website. The more things change, the more things are the same.
That's in reference to the Werribus being pulled with John X to have that tele exchange with the Phantom, which
I
is the
did
unknown
like that.
commando. So that all goes down very, very well. Diana's like, bravo, Kit, bravo. So she's giggling and enjoying that. Phantom, aka John X, aka the unknown commander, is happy about that finishing. And then you have a little moment here where the Phantom says, as you were, gentlemen, which is a little bit of a nod to some past Phantom stories. And then Werribee is called back to the office, and then the unknown commander, aka the Phantom, aka John X, is there, and they actually meet face to face, which is one of the first times that has happened. One of the other times it has happened is in a 1991 story written by Lee Falk, where the Jungle Patrol actually get framed for being drug traffickers. Feels like this story is about to wrap up, and I don't know. I think that comment from that gentleman wraps up the purpose of this story. Is it kind of fixes up the John X problem, and it ensures that, yes, the unknown commander's office is modernized and brought into today's environment, but it still stays the same. We've still got the unknown commander who leaves messages in the safe, who can be around, and but I like the fact that things are staying the same.
I was really pleased by those last couple of bubbles that you've got on the screen there, Germ. Leave your reports in the safe as always. I'll let you know when I've left documents there for your attention. So yes, we've got this bust of Ovid now sitting on the safe, and the office is completely reconfigured, and the Phantom can engage in Zoom meetings from an office that looks exactly the same somewhere in the Skull Cave, but he's still not putting documents in PDF form and Dropboxing them over to Colonel Werribee. They're going to appear in the safe. So, so yeah, I like that.
There's just something good and old school about that.
It is. And while this feels like it's wrapping up soon, it's given a new life, I think, to the Jungle Patrol, and brought it into the modern age. And we just saw with the Elon Musk story, the text messages and the tweets and that sort of stuff. So I like that Tony DePaul is not afraid to have the Phantom communicating with modern technology. It would be a complete anachronism now to see the Phantom climb up a telephone pole and patch into the telephone wire so that he could call Colonel Werribee. To have him be able to, have a Zoom meeting essentially to do that is, that does add to the continuity of the Phantom and I'm with you, Jim. I like the idea that the Daily is going to be a standalone, but even just the fact that they're using current technology, what's modern for us now, continues that continuity.
Okay, so that wraps up the newspaper stories. The news. First cut off the link with our news is the Defenders of the Earth trade paperback released by Mad Cave Studios. We've been teasing this for a number of months now, probably about 6 months. And it's to kick off their, I think, an 8-part series. It's going to start being released in August. There's actually at the back of the book, but it does give you some dates that when to, if I can open the page properly, there we go. Defenders of the Earth, 1 of 8 coming out August. Then we got September, October, a break in November, and then December we'll have part 4. So for those of us who are Defenders of the Earth fans, we're looking forward to reading that. This isn't anything new. This is the original Marvel or Star comic, just collected in 1 volume. Have you guys got a copy of this yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, first it popped into Minotaur. They didn't have it. Popped into All Star Comics and got it for $15 at a 20% off sale, which was a lot better than I was going to get it at Minotaur. So very happy that I've picked this up. I haven't gone through it, properly, but it is just the original comic all together. It's a good quality production. The artwork, is bright and vibrant. The paper quality is excellent. It's all the things that you expect from a modern trade paperback. But a modern collection of was it 30 years old, I guess now,
Yeah.
original piece.
Yeah, so they're
Uh,
actually some
hmm.
significant creative team that Mad Cave have pulled together for this. Dan DiDio has been at the top of the tree in DC Comics in the past as the co-publisher, and Jim Calafiore, particularly in the 90s, I guess, was heavily involved in Aquaman, and so we've got some actual heavy hitters in the creative team here, which is pretty exciting.
Which is fantastic. A little bit of news there with the NECA figurines, Jim.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a great little touch where NECA, as we talked about in episode 284, where myself and Dan interviewed George Djokovic, where he's got artwork which is going to look like the Neckarine figure boxes. That's
Isn't it
actually
the
going to
Galoops?
the Galoops, yeah. So, but that's what the cover's going to be like. So issue 1 is Flash Gordon, issue 2 is the Phantom, Mandrake is issue 3, and issue 4 is going to be Lothar. And that's going to be one of the variant covers. So there's a few other variant covers as well. What's worth making mention is the team, the 3 of us and some others from the extended team are in the middle of working on some interviews with both Dan, Jim, and the editors from Mad Cave. We're going to be doing some written interviews, which will be on the website as the August date comes up to date. So there'll be some questions and some things that we will be talking to them about. And there might even be the option for a question and answers video. So if you have any questions you would like to be asked in the meantime, make sure you email them to us, so then that way we can write them down, and it will be kind of nice if we can get a bit of a video, them answering some questions for us.
Yeah. And there is a little advertisement page for the NECA figures there in the book as well. You can see all 6. Is it all 6? Yep, all 6. It's got Mandrake, Lothar, and what's the robot name? Garax.
Yeah.
Yeah, are all there. Hopefully we can see them in the flesh very, very soon.
So it's worth
Hopefully, I
making
should say.
mention that King Features actually have a separate license for Defenders of the Earth. So you've got the Phantom, you've got Flash, which are all separate licenses. Then you've got Mandrake, which is another license. And then you actually have a license for Defenders of the Earth. So Mad Cave has the license for Defenders of the Earth, which is why they're releasing this series. And then, of course, they're actually releasing Flash Gordon stories as well. Been talking to a few creators in Supernova, and they have had a lot of positive things to say about Mad Cave. One of the series they talked about was Nottingham, I believe it was, which is a really, really good read. And they said that that was worth digging out for a lot of fans who might be wanting to learn a little bit more about Mad Cave as well. So, yeah, very exciting. We are looking at having some of our American friends to do some reviews of the comics and stuff like that as they come out, which will hopefully mean that we'll be able to review them quicker than what we can get our copies as well. But if that doesn't eventuate, we will review them in due time.
While you're up in Sydney, you got a chance to speak with Ash and Matt, I'm assuming, about the Phantom video game. There was at the Supernova, there was a panel, I believe, and he was also at the big dinner. What's happening? I know you guys have, or I know Dan at least. You may have as well, Jim, but Dan did rub it in that he's played a couple of the levels of the Phantom video game, which I am extremely jealous about. Well, I'll start off with that. Dan, how's the gameplay?
Oh, it was excellent. I was so stoked because Ash did say as part of his speech at the dinner that he happened to have a Switch on him, and if anyone wanted to play the game, then they could hit him up for that. And so, of course, I did. It wasn't playing dumb when I said to him, mate, I haven't picked up a console like this in 20 years. Like, how does it work? You know, which buttons do I press? Da da da. So I actually watched him play through level 1 and then was able to play through level 2 myself. And it was really fascinating, like that peek behind the curtain as you're playing it or watching the developer of the game play it. And he's going, oh, that's a bug, or this bad guy is harder to get past than I thought. I'm going to have to tell that to the development team and tone him down a bit and all that sort of stuff. The gameplay was really, well, I thought it was really smooth. He was critical. But to me, you know, I was jumping up and down and I was punching bad guys and, you know, I was just experimenting, you know, this is the button to pull the guns out. So, all right, I'll shoot this bad guy. No, you're not supposed to do that. And they'll be, you know, but it was so much fun. Moved really smoothly and, you know, there's a retro feel to it being a side-scrolling beat 'em up. And I think that really works for the character. I think that it's going to be really cool for a lot of Phantom fans who pick up a computer game again for the first time in a long time, like I am, or yourself, who's a bit more of a gamer and will be able to slip into it a lot easier. Playing through a couple of essentially it was a couple of chapters of first 2 levels of 15. So you're starting to see the story unfold. I'm not going to go too much into that because that's still pretty tightly under wraps. And but from what I saw, the story is going to be something that that long-term fans are going to appreciate and enjoy, but will bring new fans. Like if you're a gamer who just happens to pick up this game, it'll bring gaming fans to the Phantom, I would like to think. So I think that's, from what I saw, it's been really cleverly done. And yeah, it just looks like a lot of fun.
Did you get a chance to play it too, Jim?
No, I didn't get a chance to play it. Oh, there is a video of Dan playing it. So as he's talking about it, if you are on YouTube, you would have seen that. If you're on audio, you would have missed that. So maybe go back and see that. We'll probably go in the sounds of Supernova as well. So some of the other things that we learnt about. So we'll quickly jot these down.
There is a Kickstarter happening now, is there?
Yes, there is going to be a Kickstarter.
Sorry, just on the Kickstarter, worth saying that the release of the game is not dependent on the Kickstarter, which is often the case with Kickstarters. They're trying to fundraise to get the product out. The product is coming out. The Kickstarter, as much as anything, like it's to get a little bit of gravy, of course, for Art of Play, but as much as anything, it's to provide extra elements for fans. So it's a good opportunity for the nuffies like us to get involved and pick up some of the extra levels and the art and that sort of thing, which I know you're going and explain now, Jerm, but just wanted to make sure people are clear. The game does not depend on the Kickstarter. It will still come out whether this meets its goal or not. It's just that Art of Play have discovered through a different game, Lady Death, that Kickstarters work. So I think they're keen for it.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. So there's going to be variant cover design. So as you get variant comics, there's going to be variant cover designs, which will feature some art by including, but not all, including Luca Alberta, Lauren Marshall, Cy Barry, and Gled Ford, and there will be a couple of others as well. There's going to be a new version of the trailer. We've all seen the original trailer 1. So the new trailer will be released in July. So that will be probably in the next week or so as this podcast is released. One of the things that we did hear on the panel, which again, you'll be able to listen to the panel in full in a week or 2 after this podcast is released. The Phantom will be visiting India, Sweden, and Australia throughout the game. And I'm sure fans will figure out the reason why the Phantom is visiting those 3 countries and why those 3 countries are important to the Phantom universe.
There's 2 other locations as well. He talked about them in the panel.
Did he talk to him in the panel?
Yeah, we saw the map. Or maybe I saw the map in the gameplay. Anyway, it's Bengala. That's not a surprise. And New York is the other one.
Now, one of the interesting points is this will probably be a more of an interest for our Swedish friends, is that there is going to be a different skin that you can include throughout the game for the Phantom's costume, aka you can have a blue Phantom if you are one of our Nordic friends who believe that the Phantom is blue and not purple. And of course, there's going to be a competition with a Billy Zane signed NECA figurine to win as well, but that one has been announced before. So, look, listen to the podcast that will be coming out after this, which has got not one but 2 times Ash is speaking about the game, and sometimes he repeats himself, but you will be able to learn a little bit more about some of the stuff, and that is due to come out, and we will be talking to Ash at least once, possibly even more before the game comes out again.
No doubt. Well, was it last month or was it this month? King Features was at the 2024 Licensing Expo with a new release Phantom, was it style guide or trend guide that they've got going on?
Yeah, it's a trend guide, not a style guide, a trend guide.
Explain to me what the difference is with the trend.
What's the difference there?
Not much. It's just a different name. From what I understand, is that a trend guide includes the style guide, which has been extended. Now, it would have been what, 2-3 years ago, Dan, we explored the new style guide that was created by
Yeah,
It
2
wasn't
years
too
ago.
long ago.
I can't
Yep.
remember her name, sorry. But from what I understand is that style guide has actually been expanded, which is that is going to be including some traditional Phantom images for people to use, as well as the new style guide. Now, what a trend guide also includes is the style guide, but it also includes information on how to maximize the Phantom in a simple layman's terms. So the fact that is that King Features only have 2 trend guides, the Phantom and Flash Gordon, I believe, at this stage. So read into that as you will. But the fact that they are at the Licensing Expo, as you can see, if you're on YouTube, you'll see that their panel has a big 6-foot image of the Phantom. So they are definitely pumping the Phantom at the moment.
Good to hear.
Which is
Good to
great
hear.
see.
Yeah. All right. New Norway Phantomet book. So Norway don't get many Phantomet publications now, but so it's a special occasion when they get one. What's important about this one? Is it just a
Norway's,
one-off, or is it continuing the thing again?
well, I don't know. I reckon if the sales are good, it might become more off. But the last
Yep.
couple of years, they've had a few failed attempts. So the fact that they are looking at doing a new publication again is only good news. So if you are from Norway, or especially if you're from Norway, you follow the Phantom, stop looking for excuses, buy the book, because if the book doesn't sell, they're not going to do it again.
Yeah. Okay. There's been a cover release for the 2024 Phantom and hardcover Kate Somerset book. I think we saw an image of this the other day.
Yes, by
Great.
Henrik
Who's that one by?
Solstrom. Henrik Solstrom. So what's actually, it's been a real, stars aligned, serendipitous moment where the cover's being released. We've had a great chat with Cesar Spadera's stepson, and we've released an article where he talks about his stepfather, Cesar Spadera, and a lot of his artwork's going to be released in this Kate Somerset book. So there's a few little stars aligned. We could lie and say that we've all planned it with Egmont and all that type of stuff, but it's been a total fluke that they've all kind of happened on the same week and the same moment. So look, it's great to see. I'm looking forward to getting this book. I'm looking forward to this series, and it's also good to see a little bit more information about Caesar being made public.
And how beautiful is Henrik Solstrom's cover? And it really
Yeah.
captures so many elements that I remember from the Kate Somerset series. And I think he's done a magnificent job. He's a wonderful artist who Egmont haven't been using as much as they used to, but he puts out some great stuff.
It does. It does.
Absolutely. So over in Germany, Cult Comics are releasing their second trade paper book of the French comics of the French Mitten collection, if I've read this correctly.
John, this Mitten is French, but the stories were created by Team Phantom. Includes Hugin's Revenge, Marsh of the Endless Wind, and some other classic stories. So the French released a really big hardcover book in a beautiful cardboard box. So the German publisher Cult Comics has not just released it once, but they've split the 8 stories into the first trade paperback, and the second trade paperback is going to be the second lot of 4 stories. It was edited. There's been a great article written by Bern Friends, is his name. He's written a couple of articles for us, and he's actually used some of the interview with Ulf Granberg when he talks about Mitten in that interview. He uses some of the words and stuff like that in that book as well. So it's great to see some of these old podcasts being used in modern day publications. I've got the first book that that Cult Comics have released for the Mitten collection, and it was a great publication, and I'm looking forward to the second one.
Very good. And coming out in 2 versions, is there a soft cover and a hardcover? Am I reading this correctly?
Yes.
Yeah. So soft cover about $40 Australian. The hardcover $85 Australian.
So Jermayn, as a completist, you'll be getting both of those?
No comment.
Is his wife listening or not? Oh, yeah, there was a bit of a social media post just the other day. I saw this.
Dan Herman?
Is it Dan Herman? Yep. Saying, go and buy your comic. You've got to buy this comic. You've got to buy this book. Sorry. And I'm thinking, I don't got to buy nothing, mate. I've got to put food on my table. I've got to keep a roof over my house. Those are things I've got to do. Things I'd like to do is to buy your comic, your book. That'd be great. But he wants us. We've got to buy the comic to keep Hermes going because sales seem to be decreasing. This is what we're getting out of this post. Why do we think this is? Cost of living. It's very prices are going up. No matter where you are, especially here in Australia. I'm sure I was talking about this with people. Oh, sorry, if we're feeling the pinch, people who are worse off than us are definitely feeling the pinch. So cost of living is going up everywhere. It is cheaper to buy it elsewhere. I saw a post, or I think it was you, Jam, just before. Booktopia has got Hermes books for less than half the price in some instances. And I thought, oh, that's in my price range now. There's delays in volumes. It could turn people off pre-orders, but of course, people don't pre-order. They don't know how many to make. I don't know if that is a double-edged sword there. There's no Sundays, and the dailies are up to date in the 90 days. Like, you'd have to really, really like this publication to want to go get it. It is a quality publication. There's no denying that. But if you're just reading it for the stories, well, we've just read that in the 1972 for a fraction of the price.
I think sales are decreasing everywhere. I know of 3 comic book stalls in Australia that have closed their doors in the last month.
Yeah. I think the Ballarat one here, it's gone to online only.
Yeah, exactly. So that's 4 walk-in stalls that have closed in the last, month or so. So everything's expensive. It is a pity. I think it's a timely reminder by Hermes that, hey, look, we can only keep publishing these while you keep buying them. So yeah, it is a timely reminder, but I don't think it's one reason why people are not buying them. I think you listed off half a dozen reasons, Stephen, and I think they're all valid reasons why there's probably people that aren't buying them anymore.
I mean, we know, and I spoke to people on the weekend in Sydney about who love Hermes Press and don't miss a volume, and that's the centerpiece of their collection. We've seen photos on social media, Phantom Collector Facebook page from time to time, of people with shelves lined with them. I've only got 3. I think I checked before. I've got issues or volumes 1, 17, and 23, and they would have all been because they came to me at the right price at the right time. It's certainly not something that I'm going to pre-order and send $150 overseas to wait 18 months while the book gets to me. I think a lot of people are in that boat as well. It's a really high-end product. It's a luxury product in the phantom market, and luxury goods are one of the first to go. And even my wife would not believe in a million years that book cost me $20 if it arrived.
Well done.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Now some sad news in the comic world. Don Perlin has passed away. Now Don Perlin, well known in the comic world, how has he dabbled in the Phantom comic world much?
He's done a couple of Team Phantom stories.
Such
He
as we got here
has
the Bengali Triangle, Lethal Cargo. That's one that I'm familiar with. Bengali Triangle, though, I don't think it's been published by Frew yet.
That's correct. And he's also done a cover for Moonstone. We've got an article online which touches upon his Phantom work. So he's also done a trading card in the Gallery Series 2. The Moonstone comic cover was actually done with charity, and the cover art was actually donated to a charity. And I actually know the person who brought the original art for that as well. So yeah, look, it's not a huge name in the Phantom community, but you know, it's always sad when someone who's had a Guernsey or a jumper or a gig drawing the Phantom passes. So you know, to his family,
So it's worth noting.
yeah, to his family, we thank you for his input into our character as well as the wider comic community.
Okay, now as been mentioned a few times over this podcast, Sydney Supernova 2024 was just last weekend, and we'll have all the wrap up and the sounds. The sounds of Supernova will be the next podcast after this. And as I mentioned earlier, Melbourne's MetroCon has got a heap of Phantom guests. If I start rattling them off, I'll probably forget them. But Paul Mason's coming back down, Andrew Constant's coming back down, then Daniel Picciotto, Chewie Chan,
Andrew Constant, Nicholas Scott.
Yep, Nicholas Scott. I was kind of hoping that Grange might turn up. He's been doing a bit of. It hasn't been doing the Phantom work, but he's been doing these toxic Avenger, was it Avenger or Crusader work, and I wouldn't mind seeing those in the flesh. But plenty of Phantom people at MetroCon.
There is some appetite for we know that the Brisbane Supernova is in November, and there's certainly some appetite from Brisbane fans to maybe organise a bit of a catch up associated with that. So that's super early stages. Even just reading that just now has reminded me that I've got Christopher's contact details in the coat pocket of the jacket I wore on Saturday. I better go and fish that out and give him a bell, and see what we can do there. So yeah, if you're a Phantom fan and you're looking at Brisbane Supernova, watch this space at this stage.
Very good. All right, and there's some comic festivals happening in Norway and Sweden, and we'll release interviews and sounds from those two events on a podcast soon in the next month. We have made it, fellas. We're at the end of the podcast. Jerm's cheering in the background because he's the poor bugger who's got to edit it all. Hopefully we haven't got too many times we've stumbled over ourselves. I think we've done okay. So thank you one and all for listening and or watching us. Our website is chroniclechamber.com. Our email is chroniclechamber@gmail.com. We would love to hear your thoughts, feedback and opinions on our social media platforms or over at the YouTube channel. And of course, if you do comment, we might just even put it up on the screen and read it out loud. You can subscribe to us via YouTube or through your favorite podcast apps, including iTunes or Spotify. Gents, thank you very much. It's been great to catch up with you all once again. It's been too long, and hopefully I can be more often, like all of us together again in the podcast realm. So Jermayn and Dan, happy Phantoming, fellas.
So everyone,
Thanks,
thank you for listening. Happy Phantoming.
Yeah, thanks. The Sydney weekend reminded me again how lucky we are to be in a position to do this so often. Staggers me that people watch it and listen to us. Thank you very much for everyone for your time. Happy Phantoming.
500 years ago, he washed ashore the sole survivor of a shipwreck. And upon the skull of the man who killed his dad, he said, "I'm mad, I must eradicate piracy, injustice and cruelty, and all my sons will follow me, so evildoers will believe that this man cannot die." The Phantom, the ghost who walks. The Phantom, enemies beware. The Phantom's always there, but you won't find the Phantom. He fights